Hello friends! Welcome to your next tutorial in the Bloom and Budget Workshop. We are going to work on our wreath base, and I have you kind of up close and personal right now so you can see exactly how I cut my mesh and how I put my mesh on my wreath base. Then we will pause the video and get everything put on the wreath stand and we can put the wreath together. But for now, I just wanted you to be sure you could see exactly how I do it. Now I already have some curls cut, but this is 10-inch mesh. You can get this at the wreath shop or White Bayou. White Bayou, use my affiliate links to get that 10% off. But I take my 10-inch mesh and I'm standing at my table right here. My hips are like at my table. And I'm just pulling this piece of mesh up like this. My arm is straight out parallel to perpendicular to my body. And I'm pulling it out and I just cut it just like that. So I already have a few pieces cut, so you don't have to sit there and watch the whole thing, but I'm just going to cut a few. And you see it moves very quickly because I just pull it out. I don't measure. I just pull my arm up and cut it. Whether it's the same or not, it's going to be pretty darn close. And when you roll your mesh up into your wreath, you are not going to notice. Now, if your pieces are too short, it's not going to curl well. If your pieces are too long, you're going to have too many curls and it's going to be very thick. Sorry if that's loud. Cut a few greens. So we're using 3 different colors. I do not use 3 full rolls of each one. I try not to cut too many. That way I don't have it like just laying around, having to store it. It gets in the way. It sticks to everything. Okay, we're going to start with that, and we can always cut more if we need it. So now I'm going to pull out my 24-inch wreath base. This came from Hobby Lobby during Christmas time. As wreath makers, you should try to stock up when you can from Hobby Lobby during Christmas because they're 50% off. It is hard to find the rest of the year. Michael's has some good ones too. I like Hobby Lobby's because they're double ringed and it has that elevated ring on it as well. But I know a lot of everybody's Joann's is closing down, so that sucks. But Joann's did sell wreath bases. I know that Sims Pottery does, but you have to have an account. But a lot of suppliers are starting to sell more and more wreath bases that are accessible the rest of the year. But this one came from Hobby Lobby. I don't know if Joann's is still online right now or not, if you want to go check them out for wreath bases. White Bayou, the wreath shop, places like that, they're going to have bases that you can use. Some of them have 18-inch. 18-inch is a pretty good size too. I do like the double ring, even if it's 18 inches. The single rings are real kind of just flimsy and hard to use. So I do like the double ring. And 18-inch too, 24 inches can get really big. So 18 can be a really good go-to as well. So how we're going to start is we're going to start on this outside ring. I do the outside ring first, and then I work my way to the inside. So I'm going to take my mesh, and I'm going to kind of unroll it. But I'm going to put it against my chest. You can't really see, but I'm against my chest. And I'm going to roll it in where it naturally rolls. And I'm going to roll it in like this, like 2 times. Enough to make a curl and enough to leave a little in the middle. And then I'm going to cruffle it. See how I'm just gathering it up? Just gathered it in my hand and I made a cruffle, which is a curl ruffle. Now, this is where I rolled it up and I cruffled it together. And I always put it down in the wreath. So that open seam, the way we curled in, goes down. So I'm going to find 2 pieces of pine right here on that outside ring. And I'm just going to separate them out. These are going to be my ties. And I'm going to go in. I'm going to push that cruffle down into that pine. And I'm going to take my 2 pieces and pull them and twist them twice. And see, my cruffle just fans out to the side. That's the look that I like. I want it to fan out toward the outside. Let's do another one. This is a fabric mesh. I do like using fabric mesh sometimes because it puts just another texture in there. Cruffle it like so. Doing this in slow motion makes it's a little bit hard. I don't get the right cruffle sometimes. So now I don't want to butt it up against my next piece of mesh. I want them to just kiss because we're going to waste mesh. We don't need it that stuffed full of mesh. So let's just let them kiss. Just like that. They're just kissing each other. They're not in each other's way, but we have good coverage. Move on to our pink. Again, let it roll in naturally and then cruffle it in the middle. It does not matter what two pieces of pine you find, just move along, let them kiss, twist it around. Now I've used all three of my colors, so now I'm going to start over. I'm going to roll it in. It's so hard when I can't put it against my chest, but y'all can't see the chest part. Cruffle. Roll it in, cruffle. This part gets really repetitive, but when you get used to it, you can move pretty quickly. And I just like the way that it looks when my mesh faces the outside. I feel like it creates a nice ring and creates a lot of fullness. So I am just repeating this process all the way around. I have found that this process does not, you don't use a whole lot of mesh this way. You kind of preserve a lot, and then you can always take your extra little cruffles and fill in empty spaces that you see, or as you're building your wreath, if you see a dark space, you can just throw a piece of mesh in there. But you don't have to just make it crazy full from the beginning. See, on this outer ring, we've only used 4 curls of each color. So 12 pieces of mesh to go around this 24-inch outer ring of this wreath. Now we have a little space in between these two, so we're still definitely going to stick our color in there. If these need to overlap a little bit, that's okay. You don't have to stick your color in there. There's not really a reason to have a pattern, but I'm doing it because you would rather have your mesh full in there than have an empty space. Now what we'll do is we'll move on to our inner ring, and we're going to do the exact same concept. And I'm going to start with my green, but I'm not going to do it on top of the other green. I'm going to do it kind of in the middle of my 3 here. That way the colors can, they're all over the place and they're not just coordinating. You don't want it to look all just symmetrical and stuff, uniform. It's not that, it's a creative piece and you want it to look creative. So we're doing the exact same thing. We're going to that inner ring, grabbing those ties, facing our cruffle toward the outside, and putting it in. If you feel like you have a lot of pine, gathering up in one place, just face some of it toward the inside. You're going to need that later anyway. You're almost done. Now, obviously, if you get to a point where some colors line up, it's not a big deal. I'm just saying you don't have to make sure that everything is just totally uniform. You don't want that. You want it to be a free flow creativity. If you want to mix it up when you get to the inside, you can go, you know, green, pink, purple. It doesn't have to be in the same sequence. One more series. Oh, see, I almost just put it in a different series, but now I've done the same thing so much that I can't. I just gotta do it. My OCD might kill me if I mess up now. One more pink. And voila. Just like that, we're done with our base, and it's been 12 minutes. How you like that? Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put this, I'm gonna grab the inner ring of this wreath. I'm gonna put it against my stomach, and I'm going to pull it toward me. Now I just created an elongated wreath. This is the style that I like. I like my oval wreaths. I don't really like them round. Sorry if I just shook y'all to death. I like the way the oval wreaths look. They just look fuller and they're bigger, and we can really create some size with this. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that is our wreath base, and now we're gonna move on to decorating it.